Hey folks, today we've got an interesting project for you, along with an interesting story. First, look at the symptoms. I don't know if you can see it from this angle. Sometimes it's really hard to see things on video. There's something about that two-dimensional thing. But hopefully you can see that Allie the Gator here is leaning a little bit. Well, not all of Allie the Gator, just the front left paw. Do alligators have paws? Anyway, that's the project. It shouldn't be leaning like that. Now the story. We were on a project the other day, and there were a couple of 14-year-old girls there. They had never driven a car before, and they were just having a good time around, and I said, well, why don't you just get in Allie and take off and have some fun? I really didn't give them much instruction. I didn't give them any restrictions. I just told them, go have some fun. I had to show them the basics, so I knew it was a new experience for them, but we were in a large property that had plenty of room to roam. It was flat, at least relatively flat. I didn't see any inherent danger around other than just the normal. Also, these girls are very responsible girls. I knew that. I didn't know them before, but I did know a little about their background, and I just know that they're solid people. So they rode Allie probably almost 3 hours. When we got in after they were finished, we noticed that it just wasn't steering quite right. Something wasn't working properly. We talked to him about it a little later, and we said, well, what happened? Obviously, we still don't know exactly what happened. But what they said is that they were driving really fast. Now, I don't know what really fast means to a couple of 14-year-old girls who have never driven a car before, but I suspect it means really fast. And they were turning the steering wheel back and forth as hard as they could, probably just trying to create some fun for themselves. And they said after they did that, they began to be able to hear a noise under here. Well, I think this noise is caused by the problem we're going to deal with. Let's get started taking it apart and fixing it. Perhaps we can tell you some of our thoughts on, well, the moral of this story. So let's say you have a young boy who throws a baseball through your window. Should he pay for your window? Most folks would answer, well, yes, he should have to pay for the mistake he made to become responsible. Well, what if we change that story a little bit? What if you invited that same young boy over to your house and you said, hey, I've got a brand new bat, brand new baseball, a couple of gloves. Why don't you bring your friend over and play some baseball in my front yard? Now, you never give him any warning about the window or whatever. In fact, you even suggest maybe that they set up and they play pitch and catch right toward the house. Well, then should he have to pay for that window? What if he loses the baseball? Should he have to pay for the baseball? Perhaps a different kind of story, and analogies are never perfect for proving a point, but my point is that sometimes when you have the toys, like we do, and you offer them to people to use and to play with and to enjoy, the responsibility for that toy is still on me. At least that's the way I believe, that's the way my dad believed. It's easy to get frustrated, I suppose, with an individual that's had an accident with one of your toys, but I don't think it's necessarily fair. In this case, I didn't give the girls any instruction at all or any warnings at all about not being too rough on the equipment. Honestly, I didn't think there was any chance they could be too rough on the equipment. So I'm not really sure why this, bent or failed here. It doesn't really make sense to me. But in any case, I don't hold it against those young ladies at all. They were doing exactly what I told them to do, and they were enjoying it, and I must say I was enjoying watching them. Seeing those girls let loose and laugh and have a good time was entirely worth it to me. This bolt is 18 millimeter. I don't have many 18 millimeter wrenches. I did find one 18 millimeter socket. Maybe I can use that. Okay, I gotta get that bolt out of there. And that looks like that's about the last thing holding it. Find a longer wrench, maybe I can hammer against it. I don't know. It's probably not a good blade. I can try against it anyway. Yeah, that hammer, that kind of stuff is why Craftsman went out of business. It's kind of a nifty thought, but it's kind of goofy as well. See, you can change the angle so that you can pull nails at different angles. I actually used it a few times. It works surprisingly better than you might think, but it's just one of those gimmick Christmas gifts. Want a real carpenter or a real tradesman looks at this, they go, yeah, no. I'm saying it's not supposed to be bent like that. Let's see what the new one looks like. Here's the new one and the old one side by side. I think we can see what the problem is. Hopefully we can get this new one put up in here. Now, while we're doing this, I have a bit of a story on this part. I don't know, I find it pretty impressive myself. I called my local dealer on Wednesday at about noon, and I told him the part number that I needed. I had actually looked it up on the new jdparts.com. I can't remember what the name of it is, but jdparts.com will get you there. He was able to identify that there were only 2 of them in North America in stock. One was in Edmonton, Alberta, presumably, and the other one was in Denver, Colorado. Please understand this dealership is AHW LLC, also the owner of greenpartsstore.com. He said they could enter this as a machine down order, and that would give it priority, and it would be here in 2 days. He said now that shipping is, you know, relatively expensive on that, but it will be here in 2 days. Well, I thought that was pretty impressive, but then I got to thinking, hey, we get free shipping through greenpartsstore.com, right? With coupon code TTWT. And so I asked him, can I order this through greenpartsstore.com? And he said, absolutely you can. So I did. I just typed in the part number and ordered it right through greenpartsstore.com. So like I say, I made the call at Wednesday at about noon. By the time I got the part ordered on greenpartsstore.com, it was 3 p.m. or so on Wednesday afternoon. Friday, before noon, the part arrived on my doorstep. Yeah, less than 48 hours, no shipping charge, greenpartsstore.com. I'm pretty impressed. And I don't think this is a common part either. It's not like an oil filter or something. This is unique. Other brands may be able to get you parts this quick, but wow, I was impressed. Okay, there really isn't that much to this. I've got these 2 bolts in. I've got to tighten them, of course. I've got this bolt through the hole. I just need to put a nut on it. And then I'll need to put these on, and I'll need to pick it up and put this bolt in, which I don't think is going to be difficult. It's free flowing. I think I'll do all that before I try to put this steering cylinder in. Yeah, it'll all go easy enough. I don't see any issue with any of that. I see no reason why I shouldn't go ahead and tighten up these 2 bolts in the back first. I'm glad I got it in there. That would have been a tight turn. There was a lot of bolt on there for that lock nut. Okay, I didn't get it tight, but I got it snug enough that I can finish it with the breaker bar. A bit tighter than I thought I did. That's pretty tight. Okay, let's see if we can get this bolt put back in. Another 18 millimeter. I wonder if there's a specific torque on there that's supposed to go. I guess we'll know if it rides too rough. Now I've misplaced one of these black screws because I didn't take good enough care of my screws when I took them out. Should have had a little container here to put everything in, and I simply do not know where the other one has gone. I found it all the way over on the other side of the Gator. I have no idea how I got that far away. Okay, we're getting close. I think I've got everything tightened. That doesn't move at all. I don't know if it should. I don't know if I've tightened these too tight. There should be collars on them to prevent that. And they were awfully tight when I started. You know, one question that kind of nags at me is there anything else bent? I cannot see any evidence of anything else being bent. Hopefully the bottom side is not. It doesn't look bad. The angle of this bolt looks to be the same on the passenger side. So I think we've done what we need to do. Let's put the tire on. The lug bolts are 18 millimeter as well. What's up with that? I don't think I'll try out for NASCAR pit crew. Well, I guess that pretty much does it. We got to put it down, but I can tell it's standing up better than it was, no longer leaning like that. Even in that short time, I'm noticing wear on the tires. I didn't run it very long with that, or very fast even, with the yoke bent there. Or is it called a yoke? Maybe you guys can help me. Do you call it a fork? Do you call it a yoke? What is that piece called? I need some education. But anyway, the tires were wearing because they weren't quite running properly. Hopefully we're over that now. I'll let it down, see if it works. I always have trouble letting stuff down gently. Yep, got it going here. Well, I think that's a wrap. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim.